Hello and welcome back to Iconocast, the podcast produced by Lunar in San Francisco. I'm John Edson. Our continuing mission on Iconocast is to demystify design and to talk about how design makes a difference to business and society. And it's interesting that that's our mission because that's also the theme of the San Francisco Design Week. And we're at the opening party, sponsored by the AIGA tonight. We had a chance to talk with a number of leaders, design leaders here in San Francisco about their take on Design Week and on how design makes a difference. I think you'll enjoy hearing what they have to say. I'm talking to Don Savoy. Don, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm the Executive Director of the San Francisco chapter of AIGA, which is the Professional Association for Design.
And how big is your chapter here in San Francisco?
We're the second largest chapter outside of New York, so we have about 1,400 members.
And so that you've got graphic designers from all over the Bay Area part of this chapter.
Right, graphic designers, interaction designers, web designers, and print product, all sorts of different design. Also branding, so it's a big cross-section of design.
Tell us a little bit about the inception of Design Week, because it's a fairly new phenomenon here in San Francisco, right?
In 2006, we decided to start Design Week, and it was very small. We just got a proclamation from the mayor in the city of San Francisco. And then over the last couple of years, we've partnered up with the architects, the product designers, the interaction designers, to create more events that would appeal to a broader constituency, including the broader design community, the business community, and then nonprofits and government agencies.
Yeah, and you've got the theme every year has been the same. It's about...
Well, we've been kind of promoting that design makes a difference. So each year's kind of had a different meaning for that. This year we're definitely focusing on the social impact design can make. So a lot of the products and a lot of the events are dealing with how design, whether it's products, graphics, or architecture, can have a social impact on the world around us. Well, we have found that a lot of our members are especially in the Bay Area, are really socially conscious. So they do a lot of pro bono or work for nonprofits, and it's usually based on the types of issues that they hold dear. So we find that celebrating that work is unique to San Francisco. So we might as well go with something that's unique to San Francisco, and that's what we do.
What kind of events are happening this week? What are you expecting?
Okay, well, tonight we're having the opening reception for our exhibit, which celebrates architecture, graphic design, and product design of the Bay Area. Tomorrow night we're going to be having a lecture by an environmental graphic designer and also open studios of various design disciplines. Wednesday, we're having a business lunch here talking about a case study of how Method Home has used design to completely transform their business. Wednesday night will be a workshop on how design for social impact be used in your organization. Thursday night, we're featuring David Butler, who is the VP of Global Branding for Coca-Cola, who will have some interesting insights about how that works in cross-cultural situations in all the countries that Coca-Cola is in. And then on Friday night, it's going to be a party where we bring together all the different disciplines, and we're going to be doing some pacha-cacha presentations of different disciplines: architecture, product design, interaction design, and hopefully people will see what the design community can offer.
Great. And let's think out 20 years. What do you hope that this week becomes? What's your ultimate aspiration for it?
It would be great. I think it would be great for the future to have all the different design disciplines, including fashion and homewares and that type of thing, involve furniture design. We do have a thread show happening on Saturday, which is for fashion designers. It's a new partnership that we did, and I'm really happy about that. So we'd like to continue that and also just have more notoriety about how design, I think design has a real big impact, and I think people are waking up to that or realizing that. We've had a lot of great publicity this year. I like to see it just continue to illustrate the great design firms in the Bay Area.
Yeah, great. And has Gavin Newsom been out to any events in the past?
Well, he has issued a proclamation every year, and we don't anticipate seeing him this week. I'm pretty sure he's busy preparing his campaign. So, he did win last week, but I'm sure he's pretty busy planning for the fall. But it's nice that the city shows their support that way.
Great. Well, good luck for this week and in future events. And thanks very much for your time and for the, the idea in the first place for pulling this together. And it's a great event.
Great. Thank you. Have fun.
Well, I'd like to get you guys to talk about where you see design now. We've come out of the recession, hopefully, knock wood, right? And it's been a tough time for everybody, and design in many ways hit very hard. What do you see now? What do you want to do with? Why don't we start with AIGA? What do you see the next couple of years being like?
Okay. Well, I think AIGA has always kind of been a hub for designers no matter what's going on, and they kind of look to us when things get really bad to be the support, to be the place for them to network, and to meet people outside of just graphic design specifically. So I think we've done a really good job, and we're going to continue to build on the programming, as Henrik said, with getting the interactive folks to play with us, the product designers, the environmental graphic designers, those kind of folks. We all have similar issues, and so I think we all can learn from each other. So we're just going to keep working on that, getting more, programming that works for people.
How about you, Henrik?
Well, so I've been in interactive for a dozen years, but I think the thing that's really helping with the recession now is a lot of publishing. I'd say the big event is the iPad coming out, so there's this huge energy with all the former print designers who are working in editorial now are adding video and motion interactivity and audio and sound. So there's sort of this new platform that is about to explode. So I think, fingers crossed, that's going to be a big thing for everybody.
I think for me personally, I was trained as a print designer, and I've learned to do web design on the job, but I design web like a print designer. So I have different aesthetic maybe than someone who's necessarily trained only in interactive, so I have that to offer. And I think just as people learn about the new medium, I think it's okay. We're collaborating together with each other, we're learning from each other, and so I think it's a really supportive environment versus, oh my gosh, there's not going to be any more print. So it's all trying to figure out how we can work together, which is great.
Where do you see your disciplines going in the next 10 years? We were standing at DesignWeek SF in 2020, right? What vision are we going to have then?
10 years probably using pervasive computing with holograms, and we'll control it with our thoughts.
Your retinas.
You'd be designing right now. Right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Behind you as we do it. Yeah.
No, I would imagine that. The digital thing it's coming. What the form factor is. That's the nice thing with print designers, and it's just design. It's whether it's print or digital or whatever, trying to figure out what the right metaphors for interaction are, how people want to consume content. Are people going to read deeply on their tablet computers, or are they going to, have projections in their house, and how do people want to consume their content? And so the nice thing is right now is we're figuring out the platform and the interface, but then content needs to get produced, and more, it's exponential, the amount of content that's going to be produced, and hopefully good stuff, so there's a large part of the curation process, but creating the content is going to be key, and that's what will keep food on the table.
So here's the hard question. The theme of Design Week is design makes a difference. So what's your favorite way that design makes a difference?
Boy, okay. Well, as someone coming from the social impact realm, having been a caseworker and done HIV education before I became a graphic designer, I sort of have been on both sides. And I think designers are communicators, and as we work together with our community to sort of help them learn and help them get ahead, it's only going to benefit all of us. So that is my favorite, is seeing designers and people in the community learn how to speak each other's language, learn how we can help each other, and then uplift each other.
Henrik?
I think design is probably more in the business context. I've had some wonderful opportunities to work with nonprofits, but now at Hut Studio we're really pushing for the business aspect of it. How can we use it to create jobs, drive more revenue, and we're seeing that with a lot of the new media, and figuring out now advertisers can have the analytics to see, are they getting viewers, are they getting the right viewers? And I think good design is going to draw people to it, good content. People appreciate good design, and they are hopefully going to be willing to pay for it in small incremental amounts, but I think eventually the good stuff rises to the top, and that's good design. So business results.
Yeah, great.
My name is Christopher Simmons. I'm the principal of a design firm called Mine in San Francisco and a former AIGA San Francisco president.
And as I understand it, you were the former AIGA San Francisco president who actually got DesignWeek started. Is that right?
Yes, in the loosest possible form. It was in 2006. We had the National Leadership Retreat, so the boards of directors from all the chapters of AIGA were meeting in San Francisco. And frankly, we thought we'd show off a little bit and see if we could get the mayor to kind of declare it a Design Week. And he did. We had a connection through Mary Scott at the Academy of Art, who knows Newsom's secretary. And it wasn't but a couple of phone calls before we got a Design Week declared.
Since this has started, have you had other AIGA groups or other design groups in different cities talk to you about the model here in San Francisco?
It was my very last official act as the president of this chapter. So fortunately, for me anyway, none of those conversations had to involve me directly. But I understand that a lot of other chapters have contacted subsequent presidents and board members. And we were just talking about it earlier tonight. I think there are maybe half a dozen chapters that run Design Weeks now. Most of them kind of do it on a one-off basis, either to coincide with another major event that's going on. I think San Francisco is the only one that's got it going 5 years running, but hopefully others will adopt it. It'd be great if across the country, this was Design Week everywhere instead of one in November, one in June, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of what we do is very insular. We're very good at talking to ourselves and our members and people who already understand what it is that designers do, and we thought a more public venue would be good, and that was the genesis of it. But the first couple of years, we really didn't have the resources to put that effort into it. It's just snowballed into something really spectacular since then.
And has Make a Difference been the theme throughout from the beginning?
Yeah, since the beginning. That's we're going to just call it like San Francisco Design Week, and then it was Design Makes a Difference Week, which was sort of accidental at the time, but I think it's really apropos, especially of the Bay Area where there's so many nonprofits and so much of what designers are engaged with here is about making a difference, whether it's to business or to culture or to society. Before, when we were thinking a lot more about just making beautiful things and sort of celebrating maybe design for design's sake or using design as a way of celebrating the success of business, now we're thinking of ways of how can we use what we do to affect people, to improve lives. Things like Project H, which you probably know about, has gotten a lot of press, has really captured people's imaginations. I think there's a lot of sort of passion around that, and it's a good story. So it's a way of talking about design in a way that the average person can access, I think.
And it's interesting, over that period of time, it seems like in communication design, pro bono work has always been kind of part of the culture, more so than in product design, but we're seeing that bleed over now into product design as well, I think partly because of things like what Emily Piloton's doing with Project H. If you could choose one thing to do or to focus on, and I understand you have a consulting practice, is that right?
That's right.
If you could pick the one kind of make a difference client that you'd have for the rest of your career, what would that be?
Money is no object, right?
Money is no object, sure.
I teach also. I teach at the California College of the Arts, and I would probably do that. I think that makes the most difference, because whereas any project can impact one person or one business or maybe a group of people, there's this sort of exponential effect of teaching and really instilling that value of making a difference to young people who are already kind of hungry for it, I think. Showing them examples of how it can work, giving them models to follow, just pointing them in the direction of resources that can help them sort of realize that. So I'd probably do that and just create an army of other people who can do the work rather than take it all on myself.
Nice.
I'm Madeline Woods. I just moved to San Francisco. I've been doing freelance design.
Okay, great. And Dave?
David Moreau, programming co-chair for AIGI San Francisco.
And so you've had a lot of involvement in preparing for Design Week, is that right?
Yeah.
And what's the most exciting thing about Design Week? If you could just pick out one thing from the mass of stuff that's going on this week, what's event-wise or just the whole, the conversations that you're going to have, what's the most exciting thing to you? Do you think about the totality of it?
The most exciting thing for me is really getting all the different organizations together. So getting AIA, IDSA, IXCA, SEGD. It's really getting all the design communities together and kind of together coming forward and kind of having a voice and getting the word out to the masses.
And what did you guys look to any other cities, or is anybody else doing that kind of cross-disciplinary agglomeration? Is anybody else doing that?
Well, I mean, across the country there are a couple. We were the first that we know of to really do this in the United States. I mean, I think in London, I think there's a pretty good community, like a DesignWeek that's going on out there. But in the United States, I think we're kind of like the first ones to spearhead this. So, yeah.
That's great. When you guys think about the theme, design makes a difference. What comes to mind for you? What's your favorite way that design does make a difference? And I'm going to come to you, Madeline. Why don't we start with you?
For me, I had nothing to do with choosing the theme, of course, but for me, it's just really, working in design, I like to know that the things that I'm doing actually does have an impact on people. So
And in what way?
basically, the things that I make are things that people are looking at every day, and it's something that people can use. And the thoughts and ideas that I put into it are things that really help streamline the processes that people are using.
When I think about design makes a difference, it's really how design can improve your everyday life. So it's funny to me that design is everywhere, but it's like the Matrix, like nobody can really see it. It's when you go to the restaurant, it's your menu. It's helping you find your way through a hospital. It's it's everywhere, but nobody has any idea that it actually exists. And so design has been in the past a way of kind of making the human experience better. And in the future, it's going to be about making the human experience better. And so it's this continual growth and this continual progression across all disciplines. And that's why we're kind of excited about Design Week being part of a larger context, and not just communication design, but about architecture and about industrial design and communication design, because it's about all these disciplines coming together to make the human experience better. I honestly hope that everybody comes out to Design Week, and there's a ton of events that's going on. Like there's great studio tours, there's designing for social good, there's Coca-Cola, which actually the David Butler Design Lecture Series, that's phenomenal because it talks about how design made a difference in business, and not just like aesthetics or whatever. It's like how did they really increase efficiency within the structure of Coca-Cola, and so it's like top to bottom, or even bottom to top. Like how do they make a difference, and how do they use design in an impactful way to increase increase business revenue, make things simple for like salespeople, accountants, people driving trucks. I mean, like across the board, they use really. It was a great case study about how design thinking can make a difference.
Great, good stuff. Madeline, did you have anything else to add?
I'm just looking forward to meeting people and hearing about all the crazy ideas that happen out on the West Coast.
Where are you from?
Illinois. Came all the way here just for Design Week.